What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Juice Reacts video. And in today's video, we are going to do one of those reactions that has been heavily requested, and that is every single Warhammer 40k faction explained part 1. Now, this is an hour-long video. I'm not going to sit here and have you guys watch for an hour. So I'm going to split this up into 3 videos, more than likely stopping at the 20-minute mark. So there's going to be part 1 of 3. For this particular video, just to guys to give you the heads up so you can expect the other parts in the days to come. But yeah, everybody's wanted me to tell this. I've been watching other videos and I've been hella confused because I'm like, oh, what should I watch, what I don't know. So we'll see what can be explained here. Everybody has said this and speech to text. The reason why I haven't done speech to text is because I feel like I don't know anything about Warhammer still. I know little things, but like it's so mind-boggling to jump into this because there's so much crap. It's just like, where do I, what? But what is going to happen here is I'm going to react to this, and then hopefully after this is done, I can jump into text-to-speech, because text-to-speech has like 50 episodes. Something insane like that. But anyways, we are doing this right now. Let's do this.
As someone who doesn't necessarily serve the Omnissiah, but someone who can appreciate them, you will not be getting my legs today, as I will be replacing them with various things depending on which faction we are currently talking about, to add a little bit more context and possible comedy to whatever the hell I am currently doing. This is every single Warhammer 40k race in kind of a nutshell, explained, a little bit of explanation, a little bit of lore, a little bit of talking about the tabletop, but mostly lore, what they're all about.
I've never heard anything about tabletop.
And also a little bit of background for those of you who just have no clue what Warhammer 40,000 is.
Me!
Now, you see, Warhammer and Warhammer 40,000 is a universe people hear plenty of, but don't know a whole lot about. They see, oh, there's these dudes in big power armor with chainsaw swords, and they got these big old green orcs, and there's some bugs over there, and everyone calls these guys weebs. And then there's these spiky bitches over here, and I don't get it. I don't understand. Where do I start? Well, this video is particularly for you, or for those of you who have a little bit of knowledge, but you're kind of curious about each of the different races and factions in Warhammer. So overall, the Warhammer universe is vast when it comes to lore and background, and each different faction is so different with the things that they believe in, and some are human, some are transhuman, like where they all have all these crazy ass electronics on them. You've got aliens, and you've got the chaos factions, and there's so much to entail that I decided to embark on this project to tell you what each and every single one of them is about, and what the Warhammer universe is about as well, to give at least a little bit of an intro to this extremely bloated but very enjoyable world that I and many others partake in. So, I will be explaining every single faction in the Warhammer 40k universe, at least all the factions you can play as, and some smaller factions here and there. I will not be discussing absolutely everything in it, because that is a little bit much, and I'm not going to go too mega deep into the lore. I'm going to give you a pretty solid overview of each of the different factions, and have you learn a little bit about them, and we'll discuss a little bit of the tabletop as well, in case you were curious about that. But for this episode entirely, we are discussing the Imperium of Man.
Okay, everybody talks about this all the time.
A fat chunk of Warhammer lore.
The universe.
What is Warhammer 40,000? Well, the 40,000 starts off is the year 40,000, the 41st millennium.
I knew that
where it takes place is in the year 40,000, 41,000 AD. You're already more knowledgeable. Let me read you a quote, first of many quotes in this video. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 years, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and master of a million worlds by the might
of his
inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the Carrion Lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die.
I got my answer.
To be a man in such times is to be amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable.
So people sacrifice their souls for him to live forever.
Times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim, dark future there is only war. There is no peace amongst the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter and the laughter of thirsting gods. Everything blows, and it blows fucking hard. Warhammer is probably the most dark and depressing universes ever in fiction, or at least like
great way to put it.
Everything is so absurdly horrible, destructive, or overpowered that it all kind of ends up canceling itself out. It's like Dota. War rages across the galaxy. Interstellar travel is only possible due to sacrificing 1,000 souls a day to a rotting carcass of a man who you believe to be your god. Demonic gods and just demons tear open the fabric of reality on a
I kind of want to know how he controls everything.
Whim. Other Xenos or even other humans end up killing each other in untold billions across the galaxy. It is a time of unending war, slaughter, and a bloodbath amongst everybody. Planets are deemed unrecoverable and are completely destroyed on a whim. Everything sucks. That's like the charm of it. See, everything in Warhammer is evil. But being evil is kind of fun. Like, humanity, in its own right, is a xenophobic, prejudice, and religious zealot group that kill each other just as much as they kill all of their enemies. And they're like mid to high tier evil on the evil scale of Warhammer. Nobody is good. No matter who you are, everyone is some flavor, some color of evil. Whoever you pick, you are going to be the bad guy. But that's the fun of it. Because being the bad guy is badass.
Space Marines.
Villains are cool. They look cool. They got cool outfits. They got cool weapons. They got cool armies. Villains are cool, man. And when everyone is a villain,
not wrong.
Everyone is pretty cool. That's what makes this so charming, is that everyone can be the bad guy. So let's start off talking about the main bad guy, quote unquote, the Imperium of Man.
All right. Learn more about Horus Heresy. I've heard that.
The Imperium of Man is the main empire of the human race. All of humanity is under this one flag called the Imperium. About 10,000 years ago, there was a man. He was the Emperor of mankind, a 10-foot-tall psychic demigod who led humanity across the stars to colonize tons and tons of worlds, create superhuman soldiers, and really bring humanity into a new age. This man, the Emperor of Mankind, was a psyker. And a psyker is like a magician of sorts. In the world of 40k, there is the warp, the immaterium, kind of like hell, but sort of like a purgatory dimension of hell. And a psyker is someone who can take that power and manifest it through their mind to use it to do stuff, like witchcraft stuff, magician stuff, spells, and lots of other things, but we don't want to get too into that. The Emperor, big boy psyker. Top tier, A+, maybe even S.
Top tier.
Now, the Emperor created a bunch of sons. Yes, created a bunch of sons known as the Primarchs. He created 18 Primarchs to have them lead all of the different legions of humanity to the different stars and planets to help colonize and bring it out. These Primarchs are basically like little versions of the
salamanders,
Emperor.
right?
Not all of them are psychers, but a lot of them are very, very powerful, and they lead his special Space Marine legions. Then this big clusterfuck happened called the Horus Heresy, where the Emperor's favorite son, the Primarch, Horus, ended up joining Chaos and leading 9 of the 18, half of his Primarchs directly to Earth to fight down the Emperor himself. Now, if you want to know what Chaos is, remember what I mentioned earlier, the warp, that immaterium, the hellish place? In there lies the 4 Chaos gods. Imagine like Satan and 3 other Satans.
Who's the sexy devil
The warp
one?
being kind of evil, those Chaos gods, that's the reason.
So
those Chaos gods manipulated Horus, and then Horus helped manipulate all 8 other Primarchs to lead this giant coup directly on the Emperor on Earth. And they fucked up. After this huge civil war, Horus died, but not before brutally wounding the Emperor. And right at the end of his life, they put the Emperor on this large golden throne on Earth, in which he is now alive, just barely, but slowly rotting away, powering something called the Astronomicon, so long as he stays alive and is fed 1,000 people a day. The Astronomicon is like the North Star. If you want to do interstellar travel in 40k, you need to pass through that demonic warp I mentioned earlier. But how do you know where you're going? Well, the Emperor is there putting a nice little navigator right there. He helps navigate you to know where you're going. If you want to go from Earth to some crazy solar system across the way, you need to go through that warp, and then you need to know where you're going, go through there, and pop your way out. It's like doing nether travel in Minecraft, so you can shorten the distance between going to areas. So long as the Emperor is alive and being fed 1,000 people a day to stay alive, you can do that. The moment he dies, interstellar travel's gone for all of humanity. You're so boned. Now, since the Horus Heresy 10,000 years ago, the Imperium has fallen from grace substantially.
Has there ever been a story where that's happened?
All technology has started to dwindle and die. There is now giant fundamental religious extremists that now believe the Emperor of Mankind was a deity, a true living god, which is probably the last thing the Emperor would have wanted to be remembered for. So now you have this thing called the Ecclesiarchy, which is this giant church entirely devoted to spreading the good word of the Emperor. He is now the Holy Emperor God, the God Emperor of mankind. And all of the Imperium has taken up worshiping him to the fullest extent and killing anything that isn't humanity in his name. The Imperium has this futuristic gothic tone to it and a hefty religious zealotry to them. If you think anything against the Emperor, that's heresy and you deserve to die. That is called being a heretic.
I've heard that a lot.
Heretics die in 40k. There is no such thing as freedom of religion. There is no such thing as freedom of speech, so long as you are against the Emperor. There is no such thing as any kind of tolerance. Everyone is a religious zealot. Some more than others, but no matter what,
especially this guy,
preaching that good word. So right now, everyone in humanity is trying to expand their empire across the stars. If you are a heretic, someone who doesn't believe in the Emperor, you are deserving of death. If you believe in the Chaos Gods, you are also a heretic and you deserve death. If you are an alien race of any kind, you are a filthy Xenos and you deserve death as well. So long as the murder continues and humanity expands, the Imperium of Man is very, very happy. However, the largest fighting force of this Imperium is my personal favorite faction, and the first faction we will discuss, the Astra Militarum, or also known as the Imperial Guard. Pretty shit now, man.
Okay, so I've seen some of this, I've never seen it.
The Imperial Guard is the main fighting force of the Imperium, and in a world of horrifying creatures, galactic monstrosities,
I've seen that.
The literal demons themselves breaking through the fabric of time to kill you, the Imperial Guard are untold billions of regular men and women wearing modern day like flak armor with a laser rifle. This is the humble las gun, the main weapon of the Imperial Guard. It fires superheated plasma lasers at an extremely fast fire rate. It is reliable, never jams. It can blow off limbs, giant holes in concrete. It is overall an extremely devastating weapon in modern day. It is one of the weakest in the 40k universe. Yeah, a laser rifle that never jams, it could blow off limbs, one of the weakest weapons. That's the world we're in right now. But who cares? Because the Imperial Guard has, in each battle, 500,000 of these men and women. 30,000 large armored tanks, 10,000 artillery batteries. The Imperial Guard wins through sheer numbers and firepower. They kind of have this World War I, World War II style aesthetic with legions of guardsmen as well as high company commanders and generals on the field along with them, and multiple kinds of troops. A normal Imperial Guard battle starts off with artillery, long lines of artillery, cracking the crust of the planet underneath the enemy's feet. And as this barrage continues,
I've seen that.
Hundreds of thousands of guardsmen, a sea of guardsmen surges forward, firing and charging at everything possible while the planet rumbles as tanks roll up behind them. Gunships block out the sun and tanks block out the dirt with the steps and hoofprints of millions of guardsmen. It is through numbers and sheer sundering firepower. They are the first and last line of defense for the Imperium and make up a huge bulk of the battles. The Imperial Guard is also made up of tons of different kinds of regiments. The Catachin jungle
I want to know why the
fighters
Astartes is so important.
If those more hospitable than almost any firefight they'll ever get into. So they just have this steroid-looking giant knife Rambo predator bitches, where nothing is anywhere near as scary as a simple knight on their home
Straight
planet.
up Rambo.
You have the Valhallan winter soldiers who haven't felt their toes in 300 years. The Mordian Iron Guard, who are more interested in making their shoes shine than actually fighting a battle. And then, of course, the big one, the Cadians from...
I think I've seen these guys before.
Cadia. The biggest export of guardsmen in the entirety of the Imperium. You will fire your first gun at 5. You will disassemble and reassemble it at 10. You will have pounding artillery drills day in and day out at 15. And you'll fight your first Swarm Lord at 16. And if you mention Cadia, you will burst into an unrelenting amount of tears and sadness like I do daily. To quote, I have in my command an entire battle group of the Imperial Guard. 50 regiments, including specialized drop troops, stealthers, mechanized formations, armored companies, combat engineers, and mobile artillery. Over half a million fighting men and 30,000 tanks and artillery pieces are mine to command. Emperor, show mercy to the fool that stands against
Gotta love
me,
the squiggly blue lines.
Shall not. The Imperial Guard are my personal favorite faction in 40k. They're the army I collect the most, the ones I enjoy playing the most, and the one I enjoy in the lore sense a lot. There's something about just a regular man with a laser rifle being told to charge the horrors of this universe and willingly doing so for his god emperor.
It's Batman.
Poetic. They actually represent the main Imperial Guard.
He ain't got powers, still fights gods.
Large amounts of artillery that doesn't require a line of sight. Lots of
this
tanks,
is something I don't see a lot of.
Tons of infantry, drop troops, and gunships. Overall, they're pretty cool, similar to how they sound, though a little bit expensive to collect, unfortunately. And they don't hit a lot. They have a bit of a bad aim, but you don't really care because you're just drowning them in shots. However, if you want more accurate fire and specialization, we can move on to talk about Space Marines.
Yeah. So this is kind of what I know about.
The Angels of Death are up next.
All right, we're actually going to stop right there. We're going to stop right at the Space Marines because the last video of this was going to be 17 minutes anyways, or like 11 minutes. So we'll stop there, and the next 2 videos will be 20 plus minutes. Or 15. Math, whatever. But yeah, this looks very interesting. I feel like I've already learned a lot more because I know you guys mentioned a lot of this stuff in the comments a lot. So, very interesting. Yeah, I don't know. This is very informative and also entertaining. I will say that. I've clicked on some of these videos before that are kind of like very monotoned and not that great. And I'm just like, yeah. But this guy, Bricky, I know a lot of people have said, like, check out Bricky's stuff, check out Bricky's stuff. I'm finally doing it. We're diving into these factions explained. We're about to get into Space Marines, which is what got me into Warhammer 40k in the first place. So I'm excited for the next video. So again, like I said, there will be 3 parts to this. This is part 1. I hope you guys enjoyed as I continue my journey into the trying to understand Warhammer 40k. But I enjoy it. I'm excited for Space Marines on this next one. But that is going to be it for today's video, ladies and gentlemen. If you ladies and gents have not followed my Twitch channel, definitely come do that. Link in the description. We will be streaming later tonight if you're watching this on the actual day that I uploaded this video. But also just hit that follow button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the times we go live. Of course, if you like stupid content, I do have a TikTok. I make stupid videos over there. They're pretty cool. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. And as always, I should mention, please hit that subscribe button because we're so close to 3K on this channel. Let's get to 40K. That's what we're trying to get to on this channel. But for now, let's get to 3K because we're almost there, subscribers. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, JUICEbox. Remember to wake up in the morning and ask yourself something about my daily dose of juice. See you guys next time.